In the heart of the night, this world will burn bright. We will set it alight. In the heart of the night, in the heart of the night, this world will burn bright. We will set it alight. In the heart of the night.
Hello everyone, I am Anthropomantic Fiend and I do horror-related things on the internet. Today I am going to be talking about the movie Snowbeast. This came out in 1977 and it is a made-for-TV movie. I know very recently Rick from US Only was sort of ribbing me about liking made-for-TV movies, but I don't actually. Well, I like some made-for-TV movies, but that's beside the point. The point is, I reviewed a ton of made-for-TV movies in my last batch of Heart of the Night Reviews videos for the last 30 Nightmare Movies box set that I was reviewing, and there was just a long string of made-for-TV movies in there, so I was just like, oh my god, if I have to watch another made-for-TV movie, I swear. And here's another one, but this one's not a thriller, it's a creature feature. Up in the snowy mountains somewhere, don't totally remember where, there is a Snowbeast, basically a Bigfoot, abominable snowman type creature that's killing people while there's a winter carnival going on up there, and it's just picking off people one by one in brutal fashion, and people running the carnival are just like, we're not shutting this down, people are enjoying themselves, and yeah, it was probably just an avalanche, and we're gonna keep this whole thing quiet, but people keep dying and things get gradually worse, so they have to go out and try to take care of the Snowbeast. The movie is made for TV, so it's obviously looks fairly rough around the edges. You can tell it's made for TV, but that said, it's a decently shot film. It's shot on location in Colorado, I think, so it's a very nice scenic landscape, but that said, there are a lot of long shots of people skiing through it, usually before said person gets attacked by the Snowbeast. We don't really need them. It's just lots of long scenic shots which are very pretty but don't really add anything. It's just like, can we get to the killing already? My only explanation I can think of is this is made for TV and they just wanted to fill up their time slot with a bunch of extra footage, so that's how they did it instead of coming up with more plot or more Snowbeast, because more Snowbeast would have been more ridiculous and cheesy but would have been more entertaining than just seeing a lot of consecutive shots over and over again of people skiing, which is pretty but not interesting. The sets and the costumes are nothing special. You can tell, yeah, there's a carnival, a winter carnival set up here. There's this main building, there's some cabins here and there, some cars, whatever, and everybody's in their winter coats and whatnot, so that exists, but there's nothing really interesting about it. And the acting is pretty cheesy in this one. Some of it's pretty passable, but all in all, it just ranges from okay to actually really bad. And every time somebody screams in this, it's just ridiculous. I didn't connect to any of the characters, really. Kind of B-level acting with nothing going for it, really. That said, one character I did really like, more because of the actress playing her than because of the actual character that was written for her, is this old woman who's the grandmother of one of the guys that we meet and basically sort of the master of ceremonies at the Winter Carnival. She's played by Sylvia Sidney, who was in a lot of older films, most of which I haven't seen, but I know her as Juno, the caseworker for the Maitlands in Beetlejuice, as well as the grandma in Mars Attacks, and she's fantastic in both of those, and she's enjoyable in this movie. You can tell she's definitely much more of a seasoned actress and doing a much better job with her tiny role than any of the other actors. Might be a little biased there just because Beetlejuice and Mars Attacks are two of my favorite films, but I don't really care. I enjoyed her in this movie, and she's just really good. She's giving it as much as she did in Beetlejuice and in Mars Attacks. There's just not as much there as there is in those movies, and not as enjoyable a part, but she's still doing a good job. So I liked her in this movie. Other people, The music in this is pretty stock. They've got like an actual orchestra playing the stuff, and it sounds fine, but there's not really anything memorable about it. It's just music, and it's just kind of there. Not much to say about it. The effects, or what we could even call effects, are, makeup effects or whatever. We've got the Snowbeast, who for most of the movie, we just see this furry claw grabbing people, and then a fade to black, or it actually fades to like red, and then cuts to a commercial. Eventually, we do see the Snowbeast's face. It's just another big guy in suit thing. It's nothing special. It's if they had actually shown it more and let it run around in more B-movie fashion. If they had just let loose with the campiness in this movie, it would be a lot better in general, but they don't, so whatever. Snowbeast is not too remarkable, and the only other effect in this movie is the teensy bit of blood that we see in places, which is just kind of there. This is made for TV, so it's not particularly violent. Everything's kind of implied, which I usually wouldn't mind, except that not much else happens in this movie that is of interest. The story for this movie is not a bad story. The problem is it's literally Jaws, and I'm not even kidding. When I started this movie, it was just, I sort of saw some parallels, and it was just like, yeah, this is pretty similar to Jaws, except it's in the mountains, and instead of being a shark that's interrupting the beach celebrations, it is a snow beast interrupting the winter carnival, and the head of the whole thing is just try to keep the whole thing undercover and not cause panic. And I was just like, yeah, that's okay, some parallels. But I swear, the further I got into this movie, it's not like paced exactly the same as Jaws. You couldn't like line the two films up and like they'd hit the same beats at the same time, but it hits basically all the same beats as Jaws. I mean, exactly. I don't want to spoil it for you per se, even though I doubt you're gonna watch this one, but exact same story beats, pretty much. And even the music at one point sounds like the Jaws theme, which I know that's basically 2 notes, so not too hard to sound similar to that, but it really does sound almost exactly like the Jaws theme at one point. And it is literally Jaws in the mountains with Bigfoot, and not as good. That is basically the whole plot of the film. It's just Jaws. You could watch Jaws and get the same story with a different setting and better. I had written one spoiler down, which is the one good scene in the movie, which I'll tell you, there is one decent scene in this film where the snow beast comes closer than he has dared to before and causes some serious carnage and panic, and it's kind of fun, but other than that, this movie is pretty mediocre. I enjoyed that one scene, and I enjoyed Sylvia Sidney in this movie, so if you want to see her actually prior to Beetlejuice and Mars Attacks, given a decent performance, there are actually probably better movies from earlier in her career that you could watch, but I haven't seen those, so I don't know, maybe watch this movie, but all in all, this one's one I'd probably recommend skipping. It's really not much. That's my whole review for this. I was hoping for something more entertaining, and there was some entertainment, but not much. And I even forgot to mention one of the story parts, which is that there's a romance in this movie. But I didn't even care about that, so I didn't talk about it, because I forgot. It's that forgettable. If you're thinking about watching this movie, watch some earlier Sylvia Sidney movies, then go watch Beetlejuice, Mars Attacks, and then watch Jaws, and you'll have all of the good things that you could get out of this movie, and more. So, that is my review of Snowbeast. Thank you for watching my video, and hopefully I will see you in another one. Bye!